So Pete, you're known as, you know, let's quote, I know you have mixed feelings on Murder Machine, the book. We'll get into that, but you're quoted as the top car guy in New York City.
Thank you,
You're
Rudy.
Rudy Giuliani. Yeah, Rudy Giuliani labels you the top car guy. You are notorious for doing such. When do you think you realize that, I could be good at stealing these cars? I got a good method. I can be in and out and off to the races, so to speak.
Probably around 17, I started realizing that this is a hell of a trade, and this is me. I'm got no problem with this. You know what I mean? Hurting nobody. You know what I mean? I'm not out there robbing, shooting people. Mugging people. A car. You know what I mean? What the hell? Everybody can replace a car. The insurance companies, sure. I didn't feel bad. So I kind of excelled in that field. You know what I mean? I found that every time something new came out in the industry, right, I had something to learn. I had to figure out how to do this and do that. And it just became like a construction worker, learning how to build a building. Every time he did it, it got easier and easier and easier. He got to learn all the ins and outs, and of course you meet different people along the way that could show you different things. And if you listen to them, you had a new trick, you know what I mean? I mean, just think about it. Every time General Motors or somebody changed the ignition so that you couldn't break it, what they have to do? They had to show locksmiths how to do it so they could go out and help somebody that broke it down, right?
Yeah.
So I had a locksmith out in California, God rest his soul. And every time they came out with a new lock, he'd call me up, say, send me 1,500. And, 50 was a lot of money back then. I said, yeah. And he'd send me the new tool. And I said, wow. So it was like phenomenal. Then after a while, I just started remaking the tool and selling them myself. And then until I come up with another one.
Yeah. So you're just keeping up with the times. It's almost, well, first of all, it's a professional way of going about it. You're not winging it in any sense of the imagination. And you took it to the next level, Pete, though. You actually traveled out of the country to apply your trade in car theft, and you started learning some of the tricks as far as the European cars, as far as like the Porsches and stuff like that.
Correct.
So what was behind that? So you go overseas. What happens?
Well, supposedly I went overseas on a honeymoon. Me and my wife, went over there. We just got married, and really I went there to see. I was going to Africa to do some business with some hashish, and that's all. You know what I mean? But while I was there, I said, you know what? I'm here. I started in Frankfurt, Germany. I landed.
Germany.
I bought a Volkswagen camper in, Wolfsburg. And that place was like better than on Fort Knox. It was 24 hours security, unbelievable. But when I went there with American money, they treated me like gold, So I said, you know what? While I'm here, let me go see what the Mercedes thing is like. And as I said, you could actually go through the Mercedes place as they were assembling them, right? And I'm learning, I'm watching, holy shit. And when I was leaving, they had a display counter where you could buy parts and stuff. And back then, believe it or not, there was a special star rivet that was made just for Mercedes.
Okay.
Very hard to get here. It was very hard. And they had bags of 50 of them for sale for like $12. I said, no fucking way, man. This is a dream. I bought a couple of bags, sent them home, okay? I said, you know what? Let me go see what Porsche's doing. And I explained to you about Porsche. We go through the whole subject. Now, I know guys here that did every friggin' number on that Porsche. I mean, chassis, engine, tranny, all of it. And it would still get pinched. And nobody could figure out why. Nobody. And I watched, and I says, at the end of the assembly line, they took the dashboard, it was upside down, and they wrote big yellow chalk the numbers, right? And when they put them, you couldn't see that. Nobody ever thought it would be like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I said, that's what led to me getting with the guys,
Okay.
Okay. And, whenever you want to hear how that happened, you just let me know and I'll explain.
Sure. So let me go back to that piece. So you say that a lot of guys were stealing the Porsches and they were getting busted with them because they didn't know where to find that VIN number or that number. And you're saying it was under the engine. Is that what you're under the
dashboard?
Under the dashboard. Under the dashboard.
Right, where they put the top dashboard on top of all the controls and shit. It was written in yellow chalk before it went on. Part of the interior. I mean, these guys
Wow.
did every number you can imagine. I mean, on a car
Okay.
before,
Okay.
you
Wow. Wow.
that's what got us involved.
Things really start to pick up in, let's say, 78. Things really, really, really start to pick up. Let's say with the Empire Boulevard operation, right?
Right.
Things really start to pick up. Roy has developed this connect. Abdullah Hassan, this is a guy out of Kuwait, right? So he
Right.
develops this connect, and you have the crooked car dealer by the name of Ronald Ustica, who's also helping along with that.
Correct.
And tell me about that operation, and if you can talk about some of your involvement in the thing, and when you were approached with this thing and this idea of shipping all these cars over, what was your feeling on that whole thing?
I thought it was a beautiful thing. As a matter of fact, it was so beautiful that we rented a Buick car dealership that was out of business. But it still stood there with the big Buick sign on it, the whole book. So wasn't like you were pulling into a warehouse. You were pulling into a dealership with your cars,
Yeah.
And right next door was a 60-second precinct. I'm not sure. I forgot which one it was.
Right next door. Yeah.
Yeah, the guys just stopped the traffic. I mean, they didn't know what. And it was a nice thing. Like at that time, I was probably bringing in about 15 cars myself a night just for the hell of it.
Wow.
You see, it wasn't like you had to pick a certain car. They wanted big American cars for whatever reason. I'll never forget when we first got the first load in there, and the guy came, he looked at him, he says, "I can't take this right now." So look at this guy, what the fuck? And then at the end, I heard Roy, he told Roy, he said, "Listen, I can't take it because I got leather interior." I'm saying, "But they're the most expensive." He says, "The cow is sacred there, so they wouldn't take them with leather interior." But, I mean, it got to the point, if that guy Vito Arena didn't turn out, we made a ton of money. Forget about it. I give him $1 million letter of credit like it was nothing.
So they were looking for like a Chevy Caprice, stuff like that.
Yeah,
right?
anything, big
American cars.
And they were so easy, Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, well, better for you, right?
Fuck yeah.
Right. So this is, it's hailed as one of the biggest car theft operations in New York City history, if not the biggest car theft operation. We briefly talked about Vito Arena. Now, I don't want to talk too much today about Vito because I would like to get really deep into the late 70s era and leading up to the trial and leading up to Roy and everything. What are your initial impressions of this character? How was he tall? He was a tall guy?
Big, heavy, sick guy, but he was like one of them cartoon characters. The head
6'5".
No, he's big. I don't know how big. No, I didn't know how he's tall. But
well, let's say 6 feet and above.
Yes.
400 pounds.
Without a doubt.
Homosexual. So kind of, no, I don't mean this in a gay way or anything.
No,
kind
of
a unicorn, so to speak. Like somebody that's kind of totally different from anything maybe that you guys have been around. Something totally different.
It was like something out of Sopranos. That's where they got
something that is Sopranos.
Remember that guy that played Sopranos? He turned out he was
correct.
That's where they got that from, I believe. They said.
Yeah, I think they took a little bit from that. Correct.
From Vito. That's why his name is Vito. Anyway, but he had a weird head. He was like a cartoon character, big body with a little head, right? But fat head, like a watermelon. So go ahead. I'm sorry to do it. I came home, and yes, he was there. Richie was there, and Freddie was there. And I didn't know these guys. I knew Freddie from the neighborhood. So, all right, that's one thing. But that guy, maybe from being away, you come home, you have a different, your how can I say, your vibes are different in a lot of ways. And as soon as I met this guy, I just didn't feel right. Something about it didn't make me right, And God, as a matter of fact, that's what actually saved me, Because, Roy said something to me one day, and I told Roy, I said, "Listen, Roy, you should speak. I know you're not." I said, "I don't know, but there's a chance that you might ask me to go somewhere with this guy." I said to him, I said, Roy, I says, I tell you, you do that, I'm going to listen to what you ask me. I'm going to guarantee you this. Only one of us is coming back. What do you mean? And I told him, I said, Roy, you can tell me what you want, but I know the story. Well, he made his ball. I said, Roy, when you're friends with somebody, you usually doing things together, and you're in the shop working, and the guy's in front of you with something, and you shoot this motherfucker from behind. That's not making your bones red, because this guy didn't do nothing fucking wrong to them. They did it just to rob him. They robbed his car. They went to his house, robbed his fucking money. And the way they shot him was terrible. They shot him. The guy turned around and said, "What are you doing?" Because the gun misfired from what I'm hearing, right? And he shot him again. Second time the gun didn't work. The guy went down on his knees.